tendría otros aparatos porque, a ver, bueno, ya empieza.
Ahora, te pusiste este porque otro vamos a ver.
Ah.
Sí.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to say a few thanks, first of all, to Arena, to AEG, Cab MMA for coming down from Brazil to assist this week, fight week here in Uruguay, and Fox Sports. The attendance tonight is 9,225 for sellout here at Arena.
Entradas se vendieron en el ante la
Fight of the night
arena.
goes to Luque and Perry, and the performance bonuses to Uzdemir and Veronica and Sale. Happy to take a few questions if there's any.
Quisiéramos agradecer
Yeah, sure.
preguntas.
Good night. I'd like to get an update on Mike Perry. How is he doing? How's his nose? Did he go to the hospital at all?
A ver qué nos diga un
Yeah, I
poco
mean,
qué
I think
pasó
they,
con Mike Perry, con su
they had
nariz.
engines, the ambulance running near the end of that fight just to get him to the hospital. He went right away.
Se fue directamente
Still at the
después de la
hospital.
pelea al
Some precautionary
hospital
tests are being done, head and face.
y se está
And
trabajando
I expect
en
some
su cara.
his nose.
Y
Did anyone else
esperamos
get to
tener buenas
the
noticias.
hospital, or was he the
Yeah,
only
I
one?
tuvo que llevar al
Went to
hospital.
have his eye checked out. He's been cleared.
Sí.
He's fine.
También
He's now, so he's on his way back to their top.
I like your thoughts on the main events. It wasn't the most exciting fight.
No fue una de las
What do you see,
peleas más
what are your thoughts on the fights
interesantes.
itself, and how do you think that might
¿Cómo
affect
piensa usted que
the
eso
market
puede
here in Uruguay being the
afectar
first
el
event and all
mercado
that?
aquí en Uruguay
Yeah, I
siendo
mean,
el primer
I think
evento?
there's one thing that definitely shows is
Hay una
that the
cosa que
dominance of
definitiva
Shevchenko is,
muestra que la dominancia de Shevchenko es absolutamente
ton of output. I think
extraordinaria.
having that juxtaposed
Ahora,
to
habiéndolo
the prior fight between
juxtapuesto
Perry and Duque, I mean, any fight coming after that fight's going
con
to be
cualquier
less dramatic.
lucha después
But, if
de
anything, it shows just how
la que
dominant,
vino
how tactical, strategic
con
Shevchenko is.
Perry, hubiera sido,
Obviously tough for Liz to
hubiera
get
parecido
inside
como
there.
que
I
había
think
poca
about three,
acción,
she had
pero
punch,
de
so,
todas maneras
one
ha
of those
sido
fights
una
that,
muy buena pelea,
exemplifies
una
the
de esas
brilliance of
peleas que
Shevchenko.
ejemplifica
But, from the sounds of it,
la actuación brillante de
hyped up in the co-main event,
Shevchenko.
but, masterful performance by Shevchenko.
And what are your thoughts on this first experience here in Uruguay, and what are the plans for other countries here in Latin America?
Yeah, we had a great week. I mean, to have a sellout in a building, first of all, brand new, excellent attendance.
Quisiera decir que
It definitely
ha
was
sido
sort of exceeded our
excelente.
expectations. I think the other thing that was nice
La
is we recognize that Uruguay is a
actuación,
nascent
Uruguay
market,
es
it's a
un
developing
muy
market,
buen
to have
mercado,
this amount of impact
muy
in the
buena
city.
experiencia
We
con
had a great lineup
el
of guest
ante la
fighters with
arena.
Jorge and Chito and Santiago here. They were
Hemos
connecting with
tenido
fans
una
all week.
buena
Weightings were
experiencia
authentic.
con Buenos Aires y en
It was a
Santiago
great trip to Montevideo, and
y ha
no
sido
doubt
un
we'll be
buen
back at some
viaje
point.
a
Don't have any
Montevideo.
plans for 2020 yet with our
Todavía
South
no
American
tenemos
events.
planes para
Probably have one in the
2020
next
con
couple months, maybe
Sudamérica,
some things to report
probablemente en
when
los
we're in Sao
próximos
Paulo
2
in November.
meses
But yeah,
sepamos
it was
más.
a great
Va a
week. and we were
haber
excited.
también un evento en San Pablo en noviembre, pero sí, la idea es seguir adelante.
¿Estamos listos?
Excellent. Thanks very much for your support.
Check one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2.
Lo oía, ¿no? No, ya sé, pero si se le dice que agarre el teléfono
Check, check.
más cerca.
One, two, 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 1, 2. Check, check.
Es que
Incluso la transmisión está pasando lo mismo para afuera. Hay un yankee desesperado por lo mismo.
Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test, test.
ya estamos.
¿Qué tal? Acá Alejandro de Radio Provincia de Buenos Aires. Primero, felicitaciones por una terrible pelea. Nada, quería preguntarte qué sentís, ¿no? Después de haber inaugurado el UFC en tu país y después de haber sido, bueno, una de las mejores peleas a mi criterio y además el más ovacionado de la noche. Y contame un poco qué esperás para el futuro en tu carrera en UFC.
Primeramente, muchas gracias. Para mí es un gran honor ser el primer uruguayo en la UFC. Estoy muy contento. Yo espero abrir las puertas ahora para los otros peleadores uruguayos. Y si posible, me gustaría pelear en São Paulo en noviembre.
I'd like to fight in Sao Paulo in November.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Acá. Dijiste que era para vos un privilegio poder pertenecer a esta franquicia por estar peleando hoy acá frente a tu público. ¿Qué sentiste cuando todito el estadio estalló cuando saliste?
Pelear en UFC es el sueño de todo atleta. Todo el mundo estaba chiflando por mí. Estaba muy contento. Un poco presionado para obtener la victoria. Pero gracias a Dios todo salió cierto y conseguí ganar la pelea.
Para aquellos uruguayos que no te conocen, el acentito brasileño que tenés es porque sos de frontera, ¿verdad?
Sí, yo soy hijo de madre uruguaya y de padre brasileño. Yo moro en la frontera, Rivera y Livramento.
Do you live in the border? Yes, I live in Rivera, Livramento. I speak some Spanish, some Portuguese. My parents are Brazilian and Uruguayan.
Nada, quería saber un poco también sobre tu entrenamiento. Se te vio muy rápido. Me parece que también tomaste la iniciativa. ¿Estudiaste un poco a tu rival? Contame un poco eso, cómo fue tu preparación para este primer evento.
Sí, yo me considero un striker. Yo sabía que él era zurdo, pateaba muy bien con la pierna izquierda. Y yo, en mi mente, yo pensaba que él tentaría el derribo. Por eso quería más trabajando en el footwork para mantener la pelea en pie. Y fue eso que sucedió en la pelea.
Hola Eduardo, felicitaciones por la victoria. Se te notó concentrado desde el primer minuto. ¿Cómo fue la pelea? Porque el peruano te mostró batalla, en un momento tuviste para el gran pound y lo dejaste parar. O sea, estuviste siempre concentrado en ganarle la pelea en el strike. Y segunda pregunta, ¿contra quién te gustaría pelear en San Pablo?
La pelea fue muy buena. Yo conseguí mantener la mejor parte del tiempo la pelea en pie. La pelea por mi cara. Si posible, me gustaría pelear contra otro striker en São Paulo. No voy a citar nombres, pero cualquiera que sea un striker sería una buena pelea conmigo.
Contrato por 3 peleas más en UFC. Tenés contrato por 3 peleas más en UFC, ¿no?
Eso.
¿Y te gustaría pelear con más strikers para lucirte más?
Claro, pelear con strikers para siempre hacer una buena pelea, no hacer una pelea amarrada. Y voy a pedir para UFC que me ponga un otro striker en la próxima pelea.
Muchas gracias, felicitaciones.
Muchas gracias.
Congratulations, thank you.
Aqui, Garagorri. Você falava antes que chegou ao UFC sem nenhum patrocínio, né? De que forma você acha que a tua vida vai começar a mudar a partir dessa luta?
Eu cheguei aqui sem nenhum patrocínio. Eu acho que eu sou o primeiro da história isso aí também. O meu único apoiador sempre foi o meu pai. E eu espero que agora mude isso aí, né? Tanto para mim como para os outros atletas lá da fronteira, para mim do Rivera. Espero que essa luta agora faça os patrocinadores abrirem os olhos e apoiar o esporte.
Rivera might would support me more.
Ahí escuchabas bien, ¿no?
Ahí sí.
Mejoró, pero igual no
Mejoró, pero igual no es lo mejor de todo.
No, el sonidista, o sea que ¿y auriculares tiene para ver cómo está saliendo para afuera?
Sí. Da la sensación como que hay solamente un micrófono allí, o hay más de un micrófono abierto.
No, hay más de uno abierto. Entonces vos lo que escuchás.
Claro,
está,
es eso, está
claro,
como.
Está más bajo el de allá adelante y también mejor de los otros. Le llega mucho ambiente.
Sí. Ahora viene la Shevchenko, creo, y ya con eso terminamos. Ah, no, y la otra. Las dos, me parecen. Carmouche y Shevchenko.
Muy bien. Bueno, pero no, en realidad vinimos a las 10, después vinimos a las 9:30 y ahora venimos. No lo sabíamos nosotros.
Ah, ¿no sabían?
Yo no dijeron, hoy nos enteramos que teníamos que venir a las 9:30.
¿Cómo?
Nos enteramos hoy que teníamos que venir a la tarde también.
Ah, ¿no sabían?
No sabíamos.
¿Pero a qué hora? ¿A qué hora pensaban que tenían que venir?
Cuando empezaba el evento, pero no, nos hicieron venir a las 10 para hablar las cosas, y ahí nos dijeron que teníamos que volver a las 2:30 para probar, y después a las 11 de la noche, porque terminaba a las 3 de la mañana para ver. Pero claro, yo no sabía.
Sí, no cuesta nada.
¿Qué cosa avisar?
Sí.
Capaz que ni saben, pero
Claro,
que nos contrata a
claro.
nosotros y más como de comerciales, ¿viste?
Claro.
Detalles eso. ¿A ustedes dijeron todo bien?
Sí, me dijeron bien.
¿De portugués qué tal? Manejable.
Cuando empezó a hablar español dije, pero este no es uruguayo. Porque es de frontera, pero es bien vallano. Sí, no habla el español.
¿Y las demás conferencias ya pasaron? ¿La de los peleadores anteriores, las primeras peleas?
No vino nadie.
No hay
Sí, hacer conferencias general, no. Vinieron, se sentaron allí, hicieron algunas conferencias puntuales con algún periodista que quería, pero no esas que se transmitieran.
No general.
Claro, entonces, por ejemplo, si había algún medio que grabó alguno de los ganadores, yo creo que estaba previsto solamente que hablaran. Yo, que sé que el canadiense que habló al principio, el uruguayo y las dos mujeres. O sea que ahora faltan las dos mujeres.
Bien. Ahí va.
No sé si Carmouche vendrá.
¿Sí qué?
Que no sé si Carmouche vendrá porque está medio
Claro.
golpeada, pero la que sí va a venir es Shevchenko.
Ahí va.
Hola Liz, ¿qué tal? Bueno,
Hello,
felicitaciones
Liz.
por
How
la
are
pelea
you?
a pesar
First
de la
of all,
derrota.
congratulations for your fight.
Te quería preguntar,
In spite
bueno,
of
Valentina
the fact
tuvo una
that you
pelea
didn't win,
donde
Valentina had a
fue bastante
fight
cautelosa,
where she
por
was
ahí no fue
rather
tanto
cautious.
al
Maybe
choque.
she didn't
¿Esperabas que
try
fuera un
to
poco más
attack so
agresiva? ¿Estabas
much. Did you
esperando que
expect her
ella
to be
atacara un
more
poco más?
aggressive? Did
¿O
you
esperabas
expect her to
justamente una pelea
strike
como la que se
more?
dio,
Or did you expect a
un poco más
fight as we
cautelosa,
saw, more
a donde terminaron
cautious?
obviamente llegando
Where obviously
a los 5
you
rounds y
ended up
que sea una
reaching
decisión?
the fifth round and with a decision?
No, I absolutely anticipated that she would be a lot more aggressive and a lot less hesitant. I think that because of the style that I was doing, it was throwing her off. But I thought that she would be much more resilient in it and be aggressive off of that instead of being more cautious and hesitant.
En vez de ser tan cautelosa, efectivamente.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Based on your response now, do you think that
Basado en esa respuesta,
the fact
¿tú
that the fight
piensas
wasn't
que el hecho
as
de que la
exciting
pelea no
is
haya sido
the blame is on her for not being as aggressive?
No, I think that we both had a game plan. I don't think that there's blame to be had. I think that I was throwing her off of her style. But, I mean, to her, I didn't execute and get the win either. So I think that it was on both of our parts that negated our ability to do it either as I anticipated doing.
How do you lead Uruguay? Are you disappointed with your performance tonight?
No, there are a lot of things I did correctly. I mean, my coaches, I felt the healthiest I've ever held into the fight. I mean, I went into the fifth round. I wasn't tired at all. And I think a lot of people anticipated that I wouldn't be able to go into a fifth round. And like I've told many times, I always train to do 5 rounds. I don't train to do 3 rounds. I overtrain to be prepared for a moment like today. And so I didn't feel tired at all, and I felt good, and I felt like everything that my coaches done, everything that my teammates had done helped me for tonight. I just felt like tonight she had a better game plan and executed hers better than I did.
Looking at the stats, I believe you landed 4 strikes in the first 3 rounds, and I did 14 in the final 2. Was it in the case of you maybe trying to push the pace more since you were likely down the scorecards going to the championship rounds?
Oh, absolutely. I should have definitely pushed the pace more. I mean, there's a lot that I'll have to go back and look at the tape to see changes that I'll need to do and things that I'll have to fix. But I think that I could push the tempo more to have a better chance of getting the win.
Where do you go from here? You just had your second chance for UFC title. You were on a 2-fight winning streak. What do you think is next for you now in the division?
Hopefully I'll be getting a phone call soon so I can get back in there. This is the first time in many years that I've actually been able to fight more than once a year. And I don't really feel like there's, I think, just usual views from in doing a fight is the only thing that I retain from this. So I should anticipate that I should be able to fight as soon as I can possibly make a call.
Like Elaine said, this was your second title shot in the UFC, and it's not likely for athletes to have multiple title shots. Coming out of this one, is that a thought in your mind at all that maybe, this was your last time fighting for a title in the UFC, or do you see that happening still in the future?
Of course, that's always in the back of my mind. Even after the first time I fought, I wondered if I'd have another opportunity to fight again. And even after this one, I can just hope that I can just make all the efforts needed and just keep making the improvements that I have been and anticipate another championship out again.
¿Te gustaría que una tercera pelea con Valentina?
Would you like a third fight against Valentina?
Absolutely, especially after this evening. I think after the first night, there were so many things that when we first fought that I was still new to fighting. She had tons of experience. But after seeing her hesitance and her caution tonight, and her not execute her usual game plan and not have that cutthroat killer instinct that everybody knows, but to actually be hesitant, that's not something we've seen her do before. So I would absolutely like to do it again and do things differently and actually take that ball from her.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Los micrófonos.
Hola. Hola Vicente, felicitaciones por la victoria. Bueno, sos un peleador que te noqueador, finalizador. Mike Perry es un peleador que es bastante duro. Sin embargo, bueno, creo que el triunfo fue abrumador. Le rompiste la cara, además, le quedó la nariz bastante mal. Contame un poco, bueno, tu opinión sobre la pelea y qué pensás que viene ahora después de un tipo tan duro como Mike Perry.
Bien, creo que fue una gran pelea. Esa es la principal cosa. Yo vine acá a hacer eso. Yo siempre doy todo lo que puedo en el octágono y creo que me merezco un top 10 ahora. En los últimos 10 meses hice 4 peleas, entonces creo que soy el más activo de mi peso en el momento y creo que sí, que voy a seguir subiendo y seguir haciendo lo que estoy haciendo.
Tu peso, tu categoría es una de las más picantes, de las más duras de UFC. Si tuvieses que ahora decir a quién te gustaría enfrentar en el futuro, ¿quién sería?
Creo que el nombre para mí ahora es Stephen Thompson, el Wonderboy. Él no creo que tenga pelea y quiere volver al final del año. Yo estoy listo para pelear a lo mejor en diciembre, creo que un buen mes. Entonces siento que sería una gran pelea para todos y para mí es uno que me interesa mucho.
Felicitaciones por el bono de la noche.
Gracias.
Vicente, queria que você comentasse o momento ali que você tentou a finalização. Parece que o Perry ele foi beneficiado pelo sangue ali que acabou deslizando. Se você teve essa sensação também. E se você chegou a ver o nariz dele depois, que foi uma foto muito marcante aí.
Eu acho que quando encaixou a guilhotina estava uns 85%, então não estava bem no encaixe, mas eu tentei dar pressão ali porque no final do round eu sei que o cara não tem tanta resistência, então talvez fosse pegar. Eu percebi que ele estava sangrando muito enquanto eu estava apertando, então continuei botando pressão e quando ele conseguiu sair da guilhotina, ele não fez nada, ele não tentou me bater, eu estava esperando que ele ia tentar dar um ground and pound, alguma coisa, e ele não fez, então eu percebi que ele devia ter machucado alguma coisa. Quando acabou a luta, eu vi o nariz dele, aí eu realmente entendi por que ele estava daquele jeito no final da luta. E a joelhada voadora encaixou. Quando eu joguei, eu senti que ela encaixou, mas não sabia que tinha sido no nariz. Mas consegui mais uma boa vitória.
Vicente, felicitaciones acá atrás. ¿Qué tal? Simón López Ortega de la mañana. En el primer round saliste a buscarlo, un poco al revés de lo que imaginábamos muchos, y de contra Perry te generó bastantes problemas. ¿Crees que en el segundo, al esperarlo un poco más y él hacer la pelea que todos nos teníamos acostumbrados, ir para adelante, le encontraste un poco la medida y en el tercer round teníamos mucho más agresivo? ¿Crees que tenías que dar todo para que los jueces tomen la decisión de tu victoria?
Sí, yo en la pelea me sentí muy bien en todos los rounds, creo que encontré la distancia. Yo sabía que era una pelea que parecía un poco pareja, pero me sentía mejor. Estaba poniendo los mejores golpes. Él me puso algunos golpes, pero nada que me dejó en peligro. Entonces me sentí muy bien. Y en los últimos 2 rounds encontré mejor la distancia, puse más presión. Igual también cuando me puso para abajo al final, yo busqué la sumisión, no resultó, pero estaba buscando ser activo. Entonces yo creo que en toda la pelea yo puse más presión y tuve los mejores golpes.
Acá, Vicente, acá, para Uruguay. ¿Te diste cuenta que fueron la mejor pelea de la noche? Se ganaron al público y después le pusieron totalmente complicada la pelea para Shevchenko porque le tiraron el público en contra. ¿No? Fue la mejor pelea para mí y yo creo que para todos los presentes la mejor pelea de la noche. Te felicito por eso.
Muchas gracias y siempre que entro a pelear, mi objetivo es traer un gran show a todo el público y más una vez hice eso. Yo creo que es mi estilo. Perry igual tiene un estilo peleón, él viene para adelante, yo también. Entonces, muy feliz con más una pelea de la noche.
La gente de Uruguay agradecida.
perguntar em inglês porque a tradução do stream tá meio ruim. First of all, how did you score the fight against Perry tonight?
Well, you know, while I'm in the fight, it's kind of hard to score. In my mind, I was taking all the rounds. I think I was putting the best shots. He connected some shots, but nothing that I ever felt in danger. But, you know, apparently, like, it was a closer fight than I thought. I'm not sure, I have to watch it again. But I believe I did, you know, more than enough to win the fight. I think I really went in there, got the better shots, dominated, connected good punches and knees and kicks. I was trying to, you know, use the diversity and put on the pressure on him. And I felt I did a good job.
At the post-fight quotes that the UFC sends us, I think you mentioned that you think you won the first and second round and lost the third. Is that how you still feel the fight? You still remember it?
Yeah, in my mind, I think that would be it because, you know, I felt good the first and second rounds. Third round, I was good. Once I connected the knee, he got into my legs and took me down. So I thought, like, maybe the takedown, it could count for him. And for that reason, maybe they gave him that round.
He went for the guillotine, but he was bleeding so much that maybe that helped him escape as well.
Yeah, you know, third round is kind of hard. Not only like the blood was a hard part, but also we're tired. You know, the arms are not with the same power that they have in the first round. So I put the pressure. It wasn't so sunk in, but I still kept pressuring him. And once he got out, you know, there wasn't much time left. But I wasn't sure it was going to finish. I don't think it was going to finish. I just wanted to keep myself active and keep trying to finish the fight.
When the fight was over, were you confident that you would get the win?
Definitely. I mean, in my mind, I was sure that I got that victory. I think, you know, I put the pressure on him. I showed what I can do. And overall, I think I got a good win.
Hi. English. You put on the type of fight that for the fans is awesome, but we know that for you guys, it's sometimes not as much fun considering the damage. And I remember when we talked before the fight, you mentioned that you weren't looking to get a Barbarina type fight, but that you would be ready. And then at one point of the fight, I noticed you were like bloodied, and I think he had landed something, and you just looked at him and you laughed like that was awesome. So my question is, do you actually enjoy and have fun in these types of like tough, gritty fights?
I have fun every single time I'm in the cage, in the octagon. So, you know, it's I do this because I love this. I love fighting. So every single time, no matter how hard the guy's gonna hit me or in the bad situation he's gonna put me, I'm still gonna have fun working out of that and improving my position and looking for the win. And at that moment, he had landed something and everybody started screaming. He smiled a little bit, so I smiled back at him because like he was enjoying the fight and I was enjoying it as well. And I said, hey, let's keep going. You know, it's just guys like Perry are the kind of guys that, you know, make it worth have a fight like that. And when we get in there and we give it all, you know, I have a lot of respect for a guy like that. I think not everybody would take what he took. You know, everybody saw how his nose was, and he didn't quit. He went till the last second of that fight. So a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, you're talking about the shots that he took, but for us looking, it seemed like he also cracked you pretty hard. And you said that you never felt in danger, but to us it looked like he was landing hard, and we know that he has power. I mean, how did you feel his punches?
He definitely has power. He landed some good shots. The good thing is that I can take that power. I have a good chin, so I don't want to rely on my chin only. I try to move around and try to block as much as I could. But when he landed, I felt the power, but he never I never felt hurt. I knew that he had landed a good shot, keep moving, and put pressure on him.
You talked about Stephen Thompson, and I think it makes sense considering that you wanted a ranked opponent, but other than the fact that he's ranked, is there anything about, you know, the way he fights and his style that intrigues you?
I love fighting all the strikers in the division. I think he's one of the best strikers. He has a different style, karate style. So I would love to test myself against a guy like that.
And you mentioned you think you deserve a top opponent, and I think you made it pretty clear tonight. But at the same time, you're a fighter who really likes to be active. You have been active. If you were not able to get your ranked opponent, I mean, do you stop and sort of wait a little this time, or are you still looking to stay active?
You know, that's a hard question because in my heart, I just want to fight. But at this moment, and with the fights I've been putting, and in the last 10 months, I had 4 fights. I think I'm doing what I deserve to have a top opponent, you know, a top 10. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to fighting a top 10. I'm not considering something else right now. We never know, but I want my top 10 fight.
Do you have a timeline in your mind for when you would like to have at least, we talked a little bit about this, and you said, you talked about your plan about being in the top 10 by the end of the year and then the top 3, but do you put a timeline in your mind of when you want to be at least close to a title at this point?
You know, I don't know. I want to be top 10 this year. Next year, I want to be into the top 5. And depending on who I fight and the way I get those fights, maybe 2020 is the year to get the title. But I don't try to put a limit. I'm here to go all the way. If it takes 5 years or if it takes 6 months, I'm still going to be the same guy and work as hard as I always work.
Just a final one. What's the plan for the 50K?
My plan is always to keep my money and try to invest it in an intelligent way, and that's what I'm going to do again.
Parabéns, Lula.
¿Qué?
Perdón por los auriculares. Te quise levantar de cosa y...
Sí, sí. Tienes razón. Tienes razón. No, que no, perdí la noción, que lo tenía muy bajo.
Claro,
Sí. Sí.
¿Qué te iba a decir? Sigo insistiendo ahí.
¿Cómo puede ser? Pero...
Lo que pasa es que si no tiene auriculares no puede ver el auxiliar, porque no es la misma mezcla lo que sale acá que la mezcla que me mandan a mí o que se mandan allá. Y si no tenés auriculares no podés escucharlo. Yo ya le dije, ya le pedí, pero está.
Porque sería mejor hasta que usara un micrófono de piso.
Sí, pero bueno.
De público.
Yo ya lo hablé y está. Varias veces lo hablé.
Sí, el problema es que hay momentos en que no entiendo nada.
Mejoró un poco igual.
Mejoró un poco, sí. ¡Ay, qué erizo!
Hola. ¿Valentina?
Valentina.
Acá, para Radio Mega de Buenos Aires, Argentina. Antes que nada, felicitarte por la victoria, por seguir manteniendo el título. Y una duda que tengo en una pelea como la de hoy es, ¿cómo te influye en algún momento de la pelea la reacción del público? ¿Sí?
Sí, claro, pero sabes, tú tienes que estar muy frío porque en la pelea tu contrincante tiene un plan. Por ejemplo, mi contrincante tenía un plan. Y si yo seguía solo emociones, yo podría caer en una mala situación para mí. Entonces tiene que más profundo porque MMA es un tipo de pelea cuando solamente un error, un segundo se puede definir todo el resultado de la pelea. Entonces, o tú estás con cinturón o tú eres ya sin cinturón. Entonces, yo sabía exactamente qué quiere hacer mi contrincante y yo no quería ponerme en su juego, yo quería que ella juegue con mi reglamento. Ella trató de atacarme a las piernas, ella trató de llevarme al piso, pero yo no le di esta oportunidad, solamente volteé la pelea para mi lado, tenía un knockdown de back fist, diferentes patadas, entonces ella es como peleadora tipo de peleadores es cuando solamente tú relajas un poquito y usa esta situación contra ti. Llévate al piso y trata de hacer su juego. Entonces yo tenía que estar durante toda la pelea muy atenta para esto. Y solamente
I had to be paying close attention to that and to follow my own games.
¿Qué tal, Valentina? Bueno, felicitaciones.
Hello, Valentina. Congratulations again.
Te quería preguntar, creo que de las mujeres en UFC, obviamente quitando a las brasileras, ¿no? Que son muy populares, te convertiste, me parece, en el ícono femenino en Latinoamérica, Argentina, Chile, Perú, bueno, Perú, ¿no? Obviamente. Te adoramos. Así que, nada, contame un poco qué se siente eso y qué esperás en el futuro. Bueno, obviamente seguir defendiendo el título, pero ¿qué le decís a todos tus fanáticos en Latinoamérica que está creciendo a pasos agigantados en UFC, ¿no?
Por primero me alegra mucho que no solamente los hombres están haciendo artes marciales, las mujeres también. No todos se convierten a unos peleadores profesionales, pero cada uno hace por su
people are fighting much more. Not all of them are professional fighters, but many people are learning to fight, maybe for their own defense. And I'm very happy to see that many girls are learning martial arts. And when I came here to Latin America, I see that here they are giving me a great support, and I'm very happy. In the social media, I see that before the fight, I see the support. And
Bueno, yo soy de Argentina, pero mi papá es peruano y viajo bastante seguido a Perú. Y en Perú, bueno, estos últimos años ha crecido muchísimo el deporte. De hecho, bueno, en esta misma competencia del día de hoy en Uruguay, fueron 3 los peruanos o sea, 2 peruanos y vos. Contame un poco cómo ves las MMA en Perú, que bueno, que vos venís de ahí, que vas seguido.
Mixed martial arts in Peru.
Años que nosotros vivimos en Estados Unidos.
I've lived in the United States for 4 years, and in the last 2 years, the sport has grown a lot in Peru. We've seen many fighters that are participating, but not just in Peru. We see more and more fighters in all Latin America that we can see in big arenas today. And I think it's very important because here in Latin America there is a good market for fights. It's a huge market because the UFC
son buenos. No solamente así cuando reciben un extranjero, así,
very good.
No importa, solamente queremos ver a nuestro peleador ganar.
It's not just when you go to a place to fight, not only do they like the local people, that people care about the art.
La última. Bueno, hablaste de Amanda Nunes, ¿no? Creo que después de las 2 terribles peleas que tuviste, la segunda la ganaste. Contame, ¿te gustaría una tercera, no?
Yo creo que ya tenemos nuestro asunto entre Amanda ya salió mucho más de que yo quiero o ella quiere. Ya es más allá. Solamente va a suceder. Va a suceder no sé cuándo. No sé cuándo, si es un futuro cercano o lejano, pero sí vamos a ver una tercera pelea. Y cuando ella lo hace, yo voy a estar lista.
Muchas gracias, Valentina.
When that happens, I'll be ready.
Valentina,
Thank you, Valentina.
hi, congrats on the win. We're going to do, maybe I'm going to ask the same questions a few because we're going to do in English. So first of all, congrats on the win. What are your thoughts on the fights and overall? Were you happy with our performance?
My opponent, first of all, yes, of course, I'm happy with victory. I'm very happy to have the belt here and not somewhere else. It's number 1. And yes, my opponent, she has her strategy for the fight. She wanted to put me under her game. And my goal, it was not be catched by her game and put my game on top of her. She wanted to put me down. I defend her leg shoot into the leg, and I put her like backwards. I was dominated in controlling the fight. I make back fist very good, very strong, and I felt it was some kind of knockdown. The hit it, other one. So you know the type of the technical side of the fighter is she's like using your errors against you, and she was waiting for the moment, and my goal, not giving not one moment to her and put my game on top of hers. This is what I was doing.
She was here earlier and she said that she expected you to be more aggressive against her, and that's why the fight wasn't as exciting as everyone was hoping for. What are your thoughts on those comments from her?
I think that now it's really doesn't matter too much what she's saying. If she wanted to be aggressive to show the good fight for the old fans, she could be more aggressive, but she wasn't. She was trying to, I saw in her previous fight when she was waiting for her opponents when they started to lose their minds and going like crazy attacking. At this moment, she's like catching them and puts them down. But in my moment, I knew it. I knew exactly that she has very good, strong game, like wrestling game, and I just knew that I am stronger than her, and I have to do my game for her. That's why I was ready for her. I was not like expecting something that it was not anything that took me by surprise. I just was like called doing my job.
Are you if you check online, people are very critical of the fight. Does that bother you, or you just went there to do exactly what you were planning to do, and not pay too much attention to what maybe people are talking about online? Yeah, online fans and media are talking about that the fight wasn't as exciting as they were hoping for. Did that bother you, or you went there, just got the job done? That's what matters.
I know, because they still have fresh memory about knockout 2 months ago. Of course, they wanted to see the knockout. But as I said, inside the octagon, it's sometimes you do knockout, sometimes you don't. It's not the way to be like upset or whatever. I think if all fans, people, they will start to watch more carefully the fight, they would see very beautiful technique and timing and speed. And this is all about martial arts, not only about like crazy exchanges that you can be hit or you can win or you can lose. It's much more. It's much more because, as I say, or you have belt or you don't.
Yeah, you have a lot on the line in the fights. And does it bother you mid fights during the fight that when you hear fans start booing you? Does it bother you?
It's affecting. It's affecting, but at the same time, you cannot listen too much because fighting with opponent, for example, as Liz, if you just go with a lot of emotion, she will catch you and put you down. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. You cannot. You have to be very smart fighting. You have to be analyzing very good. Of course, it's affecting, but at the same time, you just what's gonna be better to make all fans feel good and lose your belt? Is it better?
That was actually where my next question, because I think that there's this idea of being fan-friendly and putting on the exciting fights, but at the same time, I think people might not realize how much really is on the line for you, right? How much a difference a win makes, because like you said, it's the belt. So what is it that, I think, if you could put it in words for those people who might just be upset that they didn't get the exciting fight that they want, what was it really on the line for you tonight?
It's every time gonna be someone yes and someone no, yeah? And every fighter, they have fans and they have people who don't like them. Yes, it's a world. It's like it's everything works like this. Someone like it, someone don't like it. But it's amazing about MMA is that everyone can find their favorite fighters or whatever. I show in my fight every time like speed, precision, and accuracy a lot. And if you could see, for example, in my wrestling game, when I was putting her down and some jumping hits, spinning. So I did a lot of techniques. And people who are really appreciating martial arts, everyone will say that it was very good fight.
We are always, and we talked a little bit about this before the fight, because people are always like sort of anticipating your next move, right? And like you said, and you talked about the Amanda Nunes fight and how it seems inevitable at this point. But you did talk about wanting to sort of grow flyweight and to sort of help flyweight, and you mentioned that you think that the future really is of female fighting in the UFC at flyweight. Now, do you see a contender or anyone really? Because you've been so dominant that I think a lot of people are just like, who can Valentina fight next? Do you have anybody in mind?
It's going to be every time someone who is next in the line. For example, we have a lot of girls in top of the ranking. So Liz, she was number 3, and I think there is Caitlin Chakagian, and I think Jennifer Maya, she's still there, like in the top. So it's gonna be a lot of options for me to choose.
It's interesting because obviously you and Liz fought before, but nobody saw it because there's no footage online. So most of us have no idea how that fight went. We just know that it ended on a second round TKO. How much different was that fight 9 years ago from the one that we got tonight?
It was accidental thing in the first fight. It was eyebrow cut. It was just a cut, and the doctors, they stopped the fight. I was feeling that I dominated the fight. I took her down, and but just one thing, and it's like changing the result of the fight. But of course, I knew that tonight, it was something more, and I just cannot let the fight be like against me.
And you mentioned that when I asked if there were any lessons that you could take from that fight, because it was so long ago, you guys were entirely different fighters, and you said, oh, well, if there's anything that I can take is that anything can happen because you got that cut. Did that play into how you fight tonight? Like that, was that in the back of your mind, like, wow, one little mistake can change everything, and did that transport into the fight tonight?
It's not only about the fights that we had 10 years ago, it's more about MMA. Okay. Because in MMA, everything can happen. And you know, every time my goal is, you cannot be successful, you cannot feel that, okay, this is my fight, I'm gonna do whatever before the fight really ends. Because it's MMA, just one hit, 1 second, and it can be totally different result. You never want the different results. That's why I'm working very hard, and I just very concentrated on perfection of my fight.
And last thing for me, you have been an extremely active fighter. Even I think you never pulled out of a fight in the UFC. Only people pulled out of fights with you, right? And you fought just 2 months ago. Moving forward, do you want to stay this active?
Looks like yes. I cannot say, like, you know, even for this fight, I didn't plan it to have so soon, 2 months after my previous fight. I didn't plan it. Just UFC called me, they made this offer, and I just accepted. So I don't know what's going to happen next week. Let's see.
Valentina, felicitaciones por tu pelea. El UFC está interesado en hacer superluchas, ¿no? Si con Amanda ya está, por ahora es a largo plazo. Se habla de que si Jessica Andrade vence con éxito su título en agosto, ella quería pelear contigo, digamos, ¿aceptarías pelear en noviembre en Sao Paulo, que es donde ella mencionó que quería pelear? ¿O crees que podría ser en diciembre en Las Vegas, que es donde tú vives?
No sé todavía, vamos a ver cómo va a pasar su pelea. Sí, porque también tiene una fuerte contrincante, la China. Sí, vamos a ver cómo el resultado de la pelea. Y de ahí yo tengo todavía más tiempo para decidir dónde quiero o si quiero.
Gracias.
Valentina, creo que la última. Te escuché hablar muy bien de Uruguay antes de la pelea. Después de esta experiencia que has tenido aquí, de todos estos días y después de haber peleado, ¿qué te llevas de nuestro país aparte del cinturón?
What do you take from this country apart from the regalo, ¿no?
I only have good memories and emotions of Uruguay because really the country treated me very well. The people are so good. And as I said after the fight, I'd like to come back to Uruguay with more time. Maybe not for a fight, maybe just to know the country, to know the customs. And something that I'm taking from Uruguay is a knapsack for the mate, with the mate very nice.
¿Pero sabes tomar mate?
Leather. Do you know how to
Bueno,
drink
es otra
mate?
cosa.
Of course I do, of course.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gracias.